Get one off.
It's like I had a little spasm.
Okay.
But now we know where the audio starts. Okay. Jason, I have a question.
Yeah.
So it's just a simple little question, but what's the silliest thing that you've been afraid of, and then you tried it and you realized it wasn't so bad?
The silliest thing I was afraid of, tried it wasn't so bad.
Yeah, that was the question. No, I was just kidding.
Think about it while I'm, what is the silliest thing?
I could tell you an example for me that I kind of thought of
Yeah.
when I was on spring break vacation one time in high school. Now, this is just so mundane, but I was at, what's that camp called in Virginia? You know, you be going there too.
Oh, yeah. Not a big camp guy.
Yeah, you're not a big camp guy. It's a camp place, and for some reason the name is eluding me. But that's not even the important part.
Right.
But they have this little activity where you like just jump a couple feet down, like free fall, but you're like strapped to a harness thing.
Okay.
And I just could not do it. I just could not do it. And my
Challenge.
It was a challenge for me. I was just afraid. Like, I was like looking over the edge, and literally I could see, I mean, the ground was so close that I could see the bugs crawling on the ground. Like, I don't know why I was so scared.
I don't want to.
Yeah, but I don't know. There have been other things. There have been tasks that seem daunting, and then I do it, and I'm just like, oh, like, for example, when I wanted to start kind of learning how to code a little bit, I was just so afraid of not understanding it at all, and like just feeling like I'm just gonna be guessing everything that I do, and it's gonna work out somehow, but I actually don't think I could ever understand this, and that was kind of a fear of mine. And then I started to learn the basics, and I was literally like, at least the basics. I was like, that's not that hard. I was like really amping it up for no reason.
Word, I got you.
Yeah.
I would say something to that extent. When I was a little kid.
Okay, little kid.
Yeah. When I was a little kid, my neighborhood, my block, how we call it back home in Lawrence, Massachusetts, we used to, like, we were in the era when You Got Served came out and all that, so we would, like, battle and dance and all that. And, like, I was never, like, a shy kid, never at all. Like, I had a personality and all. But, I was never, like, I was
So we were opposites.
Oh, you were shy?
Yes.
Okay.
I was shy, I was quiet.
Damn, no, I was loud, I was annoying. I had a lot of energy.
Obnoxious.
Yeah, but there was little things that I was like too cool for school. Like I was trying to be too cool for school.
Okay.
But I would say there was a little jam. Like we used to call them jams, and like it's like a dance party. We go to a basement. We're all like literally had no business dancing. We're like 10, 11, 12, 13 grinding on each other. That's what it was. So it was like I saw all the older kids, like, you know, dancing with girls and stuff. And like there was an older girl. She was 13. I was probably like 10 or 11. And I don't know. She wanted to dance with me, and I was like, I wanted to be cool, but I was honestly like shy with that.
Yeah.
Like, she's pretty. I want to embarrass myself.
She's pretty, and she's an older woman.
Yeah, an older woman, you know. And I put myself out there, and I got in the middle of the circle, grabbed her, started dancing. That's like a thing that I overcame that, and once I overcame that, like it really did give me a certain type of confidence in myself that like, yo, like it's just doing it. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, all right, let me just do this. Like I'm like, who cares what people think? Like, and it turned out great. So
yeah,
that's it's random, but that's.
Hey, you better use that 10-year-old Riz.
Yeah. I had something, you know.
I had nothing. Not even gonna lie.
Talk to me a little bit about you. Like when you were young, like what was your vibe? So you were shy, quiet.
Yeah, everybody described me as really laid back, like perpetually laid back. Like when I was really young, my mom thought she should probably take me to get checked out. She was like, "You're too."
That quiet.
Yeah, she was like, "You're too chill. I don't know if that's actually normal.
Something might be wrong here. Right?
Yeah, I just be like sitting up there looking at the sky. She's like, Jessica, you okay?
Okay.
I'm just like,
and when would you say that you like started coming out of that shell a little bit?
Honestly, probably after 8th grade, maybe.
8th grade?
Yeah, probably after age 13.
Okay.
Because that's when I started high school. That's when I started public school, like transitioning from homeschool to public school.
Okay.
And then it was just like, it was like a big, big shift because I went to an arts high school. Both of the high schools I went to were arts high schools, and most people were like out of their shells.
Yeah.
I remember like my first day of school in the 8th grade, this girl, you know how everybody liked to dress up for the first day of school?
Of course.
Yeah, we're going to dress down.
Outfits on the bed.
Right.
You're ready to go, yeah.
But that art school, I was like, this is an art school. Like, this is something that you see on TV. I saw this one girl who literally had on what looked like a prom dress as her, like, first day of school outfit.
Wow, like a gown.
Yeah, she had on a gown.
Wow.
Beautiful gown. She was decked out in, like, she looked like she was about to go to homecoming. Like, I was sitting here like,
good for her.
It's the first day of school. But there were just people who were just like so confident in my eyes that I think slowly that started to rub off on me.
God, you just being in proximity with that type of energy.
Now I wasn't wearing prom dresses to school or anything like that, but the energy did affect me, and I was just like, oh, then I started to. I was always like kind of funny when people did break me out of my shell. Like as a kid, like I was kind of a funny kid, but that's mostly like what just really flushed out of me, like really just like overflowed out of me when I got comfortable at school. I was just like a little class clown, especially in dance class. Like in my academic classes, I was kind of like trying to catch up. Sometimes like, ooh, didn't learn this at home. Like sometimes here and there. But I got good grades because I was a perfectionist, and I'm just like, I'm gonna get it right. If anything, I'm gonna get it right.
That's it.
In dance class, though, I was the jokester. I was in the back of the room, like jumping and doing what I call the fish out of water, which is jumping up in the air and then doing like that.
Wow. Okay.
Just making people laugh.
Disrupting the class is what you were doing.
I was doing it in moments where, those little tiny moments in the interim where nothing's happening.
You go grab the packets over here.
Right. And then like up in the air like out of nowhere. But yeah, and that also really drew me into a specific community back then. Like the grade above me, the girls in my dance class who are a grade above me really like thought I was just so funny and silly, and like I started hanging out with them and we formed our own crew. Like I was just like, I felt so happy about finally just like feeling like I found my place in somewhere with some people, and
that you could identify with. These are like your folks. That's fire.
Yeah.
That's fire.
And they were like, it wasn't fake. Like I'm glad I had that experience because yeah, and then I ran for class president for like when I was in 9th grade going to the 10th grade, and I lost. I found out that I lost. Like they announced it over the intercom, and they were just like, the class president is such and such, and everybody just like looked back at me like, yeah, because it wasn't me, and everybody's just like,
kids are the worst.
I was like, and also very sensitive kids, so me trying not to cry, like.
It's just water and you just there.
Right. Like trying to tense up my nostrils. Right. Nostrils flaring and burning. Like,
boogers coming out.
Not the boogers coming out. But when I found that out, I was like, dang. I was thinking, literally in my head, I literally can't show my face again. Then a couple weeks later, my parents told me we were moving to D.C. And I was, no, I was actually so upset because I said that in my head. But what I was thinking was, damn, everybody's going to think I skipped town because I was so embarrassed that I didn't. It flipped on me at that time. I was just like, that's what I was thinking. I literally went, even though I wasn't going there anymore, I literally went back to school the first week of school because we hadn't moved to D.C. yet. I literally went there to go to lunch and sit in lunch. And my assistant principal saw me. He was like, what are you doing here?
What are you doing?
I said, we move next week.
Still here.
I was like neurotic, like maybe it's not real if I don't, if I just show
forever.
up. Right. I was like, you never know. But anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, it's interesting how things change, and like we are so influenced by little experiences like that.
It's like little events that just trickle into like who you are.
Yeah, I'm just like, it's like a direct impact. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, I can directly attribute this part about me to these hosts of different experiences, and that's how it feels.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
so,
cool.
And a lot of that is going to be fear related experience. So I'm ready to talk about it. If you are.
I'm ready.
All right, let's go. Hello, and welcome to 23, 24, 25, a podcast about not only being slapped in the face by 2023, but also by the wildly complicated transition for me that is turning 25. I'm your host, Joska, and I've invited my friends to the table to talk about all things life as baby adults. I'm over here like, talking about life as baby adults, okay? And today I'm joined by my friend Jason, another actor friend. Oh, I love talking to fellow actors. We met in the Hillman Grad Mentorship Lab, still going strong with that community, and I just love it. And I'm glad we get to talk about this a little bit more, because I've been wanting to talk about the experience of Hillman Grad too, and in the context of like what fear was doing for me in my life at the time when Hillman Grad entered my atmosphere. We can talk about that later, but
sure, I want to get into that.
I love how we met, and we haven't even known each other for that long, but it's been like such a good vibe and it's
like a family connection. Like,
yeah.
Like I felt like I don't know. I felt like a little sibling vibe when I met you. I'm like, yo, this is family right here, and the comfortability is there. The energy, the good spirit. Like, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, and like I'm very excited to dive into the topics we're gonna get into, and I'm glad to be here.
And your questions, I said Jason's questions were just an excuse to give compliments. You're like, as a very talented I was just like,
I mean it when I said I mean it.
No, it was really sweet. I was just like, of course, Jason is gonna just like flood the question with compliments.
That's how I am. You know, I like to show love to my people, and especially when it's there, it's there. It's like I don't gotta try. That's how it flows. You know?
Yeah, truly. Yeah. We're gonna get started with an activity.
Let's do it.
It's gonna be our MySpace Top 5 activity.
Okay.
You're gonna just list a couple of things, 5 things, a couple of things, literally 5 things. You're gonna list 5 things that have influenced your growth, whether it's like a TV show, fictional character, book, celebrity, real person, whatever you want to bring to the table.
Okay.
And just kind of talk about it and tell us why you chose it.
Cool. I'm a very you know me. I'm a deep dude, so I chose real folks and then some things as well.
Okay.
So I would go for my number 1, and this is just no specific order, like it's just naming them off. But I'll start off with my parents. I would say that's a big influence in my growth as a human being, as a man, as an artist, as a family member, everything. My parents came from Dominican Republic in the early 90s, and they came here and started fresh as immigrants, and really they work nonstop. Their work ethic is crazy. The way that they lead by example. The morals they gave me and my siblings, just the way to move in the world. They really got us on point with our emotions, our people skills. A lot of like things that you don't learn in school and different things where they raise us an old school way. So I would say my parents, like they taught me how to be, you know. So that would be number 1. Number 2, I would say, growing up, especially like as a young kid, as I mentioned earlier, I had a lot of energy. I was very aggressive. I was a lot.
Bouncing off the wall.
Yeah, I was bouncing off the wall, and I was too much. But so sports, team sports. I would say like.
Oh, what sports?
Football, to be specific. I did a little bit of boxing as well for a couple years. Baseball most of my life. some skating as well. But I would say specifically football, just because it taught me about discipline, which translates into everything we do and I do and everything. Taught me how to work hard, how to keep myself accountable. You know, if you mess up a play or something, like, it's on you. Every person has to do your specific job. And if you do that in a cohesive way, you know, you make things work. And taught me how to, like, really work with a lot of different types of people that come from different backgrounds. Maybe maybe outside of the sport, I wouldn't hang with these certain people, but it made me come together and learn how to move with that type of energy in a team spirit. So I really do owe a lot to that sport. And number 3, I would say my siblings, my older sister, my older brother, and my younger sister. Specifically, like, my older brother, he's like my best friend. So seeing him, he's a very responsible young kid, and like young man. I'm man now.
Young kid,
grown man. But he's always been like almost like a father figure in a way, where he is very emotionally intelligent. Makes great decisions. Is very sure about himself, and like very logistical, analytical. He's very smart guy, very smart. And I'm not that type of person. I'm very much go with the flow.
That's not what I was expecting.
Go over my energy. No. But I learned a lot of that stuff from my brother, and I give a lot to him. And then my little sister, having a little sister, like, she's amazing. She has taught me a lot of stuff: compassion, empathy, how to be a better man, how to lead by example, because it makes me go hard knowing that I have a little sister following my steps. So I try and live every day to the fullest, and try and, leave a path for her to at least have like a steady way to, like, okay, I can do whatever I want to do if I work hard and I put myself out there. And then of course the arts. Really, acting gave me, when I discovered acting, I've always been into it since I was a child, but really dove into it when I was in college. Really changed my life. It opened me up as a man at that time in my early 20s, when I really needed it. I was still immature and trying to find my way and, learn who I am as a person, and give me a way to express myself and how to be in tune with my emotions and how to articulate myself and how to, just come back to my childlike self and really just like fall back in love with life. Just a lot of stuff. Art is everything, and it's like my North Star now. To be honest, is I'm an artist. You're an artist. Is what we do. It's a lifestyle, and and then my 5th. I'd have to say my now fiance, my relationship with my lady. It's been like genuinely, like, I grew up in this relationship. It was the first time I showed up for myself fully and for her fully, and really like just made me always want to do the best I can and just be a family man soon and do all that stuff.
Soon. Just kidding.
God willing. But it's that relationship.
I'm gonna be an aunt. No.
soon. But just my girls taught me a lot. Just like a lot of different ways how to move in the world. Just the relationship is beautiful. It's like I found my other half, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful.
That's my top 5. I talk a lot, but that was it.
No, I loved your top 5.
Okay.
And I love how you like gave such a nice, beautiful explanation, just like a view, an overview of how it just affects you and like how you experience it. Because I feel like a lot of people, with everything you listed, I feel like a lot of people can have such different experiences with those things. Like siblings, When you said siblings, I was just like, first of all, I love my siblings.
Yeah.
I think actually when we first met, like in person, like for the Hillman grad, like orientation week, and we were outside doing the, catching up, getting to know who our peers were going to be.
Yeah.
But me and you were outside talking, and I was just kind of talking about what I was like, how timely that us being in Hillman grad, like us getting this opportunity was. And I was mentioning, like, this is kind of like the first time in my life where I felt like a different, like, circumstances, or like a different experience with, like, the relationship between me and my siblings. And that was just, like, so, like, I'm like, it was mind-boggling to me at the time. Like, I was still getting used to it. And not to say that I'm not, like, close with them or, like, it's terrible or anything like that. But I'm just like, oh, I'm realizing now that this can happen. Like, this type of thing can happen. Like, you have to rework relationships, or you have to, like, see where you fit in people's lives sometimes, even if it's those people who you were so close to, like, growing up. So yeah, and I think it's really cool to be so inspired by a sibling.
Yeah.
Especially a younger sibling. I feel really inspired by my younger siblings, too.
For real, it's like you see, like, dang, I wish I had that aspect. Like, that's so cool. Like, where's that from? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, it's cool to see, like, you come from the same people, but you're so different.
Right.
So it's dope. It's
yes. I feel that. I feel like a lot of my siblings are, like, almost as funny as me, too. No,
okay. Funny.
Right, but
kind of funny.
Right, but everybody is really funny. But it's just so cool to me how our humor is different.
Okay.
Like, but everybody can make each other laugh. Like,
humor,
I'm just like, that's really cool to me. Like, we have our own style with it. But
okay. What would you say? It's like do you know the breakdown of how the
yeah, I mean,
how
like,
describe the humor difference?
Let me see if I can, like, get specific with it. Me, I feel like it's kind of like an improvisational thing for the most part. Like, in communicating with somebody, I might be pretty witty with it. Like, if somebody says something and it makes me think of something else, like, sometimes my brain makes a connection before I even have a chance to think about it. I'm talking and I'm just saying something and it happens to be funny. And then sometimes, like, it comes out, I realize what I said was funny, and I keep going with it. Like,
you're good. You're Gosh, you got it.
At the retreat, I was like,
yes, mom.
It was like, I noticed that you had a lot of funny one-liners this week, and I was just like,
hilarious.
I was just saying what came to mind. That's kind of like my MO. Yeah, it just kind of comes out for me sometimes. But I feel like it's with my younger siblings too. With my little sister, I think she has a great cadence for humor. Like, she has a great cadence, and she also has, like, this thing where she can, I don't even know really how to describe it, but she really, like, pulls you into something, and she'll be talking about something, and I don't know if she's, like, aware that this is, like, how she's describing something is funny. It's like she'll mostly, like, describe experiences, and the way she's telling it is, like, in a funny,
funny, compelling way.
Yeah, in a compelling way. Like, the storytelling is really there.
There's a storytelling in there.
Right? Yeah, okay. I'm just like, I'm like, the way you just explained that, like,
only you. Like, how did that? Like,
exactly.
That's cool.
Exactly.
And are they in the arts at all, or?
Yeah, my sister was a dancer as well. Like, she was. My little brother, of course, he's a musician. He's
really good
at the trumpet.
On media.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm always gonna support.
You gotta rap.
I'm like, he is so inspiring to me too, because the commitment. Yeah. I'm like, dude's always practicing it. I'm like, he is about it.
Yeah, he's trying to be great.
He's about it. Yeah, I'm just like, yeah. And with him, he has a lot of physical comedy. Like, he's
big
like
with the body.
Right. I'll turn around and he's over there like, right, doing some crazy stuff. But he's also funny in with language too. It's like kind of like the tag along thing when somebody says something and he's just like. He piggybacks off of something somebody else said and kind of makes the whole situation funnier for him.
He enhances the
experience. Right, an enhancer. He's just like a little sugar in the lemon water. He makes it lemonade.
Here we go.
But yeah, and then my two older brothers, they both just feel like like comedians sometime to me. Like, I think my oldest brother is just like, I always tell him like he'll tweet stuff that sound like, you know, those funny tweets that can go viral all the time. And I'm just like, you should really like do a stand up or something because I'm like, this is hilarious.
That's cool.
But yeah, he's a very intellectual person too. So it just is like funny to me, some of the humor that might come out that I might not automatically understand. And then it'll be the thing that you see him laugh at it, and then it's just funny because he's laughing at that. It's like, what are you talking about?
Why are you not like? Why is that funny? But that makes it funny.
Yeah, but yeah, everybody's their own type of hilarious, and I love it. I love funny people.
Man.
Okay, so let's get out of the funny. No, I'm just kidding. Because this is still gonna be fun. This is still gonna be funny. But I actually kind of thought of a little bonus question that I want to ask, if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
Just so I kind of want to talk about, you know, what kind of brought us together, which was Hillman Grad. Yeah. And I've been really excited to talk about this because the common thread between a lot of us that we were like made privy to when we got together on that first weekend was that this felt very divine for a lot of people at that moment in our lives.
It did.
And I think for me, there was a lot of fear about what I'm gonna do in terms of like what's my thing to hold on to get into this career, and not just like one thing is gonna like take me off somewhere, but I just wanted something to like grab hold of and like work.
A palpable thing.
Something to look forward to or work on, or something that I can have a community in some way.
Yeah.
And so what was funny, when I found out that I got into Hillman Grad, I was in disbelief for like 24 hours.
What?
In terms of like, I always felt like I was going to get in. Like right when I applied, I said, I'm going to get this. I was that type of confident from the beginning.
Yeah.
But
on the front, I felt the same way.
Yeah. But on another standpoint of it, the reality of it was setting in when I actually did get in. And I was just like sitting on the couch like, oh my God, wait. And then the fear of that started to roll in. Like, am I gonna like excel at this, or am I gonna be good in this environment? Like, and like these are some really high caliber, like talented people. And am I ready to? Because I always felt that I had it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm just like, I had it.
You gotta know.
And the thing when I was talking to my friend about getting in at the time, I was telling him about that, and he was like, what you're feeling maybe isn't so much as fear, although it could be. You could be really nervous, you know, you don't know what to expect as well. But he was like, I think you also feel vindicated. Like you feel like the way you see yourself has now been, like somebody else said, you were right about that. Yeah. You are brilliant. You are really talented. You are all these things. Yeah. And he was just like, there were a bunch of people who told you weren't that, but you knew that you were. And now somebody is telling you, not that you needed that specific type of validation in that way, but the validation that you did get is very, very like, it's some high. Right, and it's high validation. It's validation that, you know, it's like an honor. And I was like, yeah, I feel vindicated because I'm him. That was kind of like my
flex in the mirror.
Right. So I was really curious about like maybe if you could talk a little bit about what was going on for you around that time before you got in, and how getting into Hillman Grad kind of shifted your perspective of like where you were going or your feelings, and did you experience any fear about thinking about what the experience could be?
Yeah. Great question. That was very like cool to hear that from you, and just, you know, I know to an extent where you were at mentally and stuff, because obviously we talk, we're friends, but no, that's dope to hear the progression. It's kind of similar. I was in a period at that point, like I just filmed some stuff prior to that. Like I was pretty, like I had a good year in 2022. I filmed a couple projects, and then like the last one I filmed was in September. So after September, it was kind of a dry spell. You know, it was kind of just like, okay, like, what's next? What's next? I'm just working, grinding, and like in that mindset of like, okay, what's that next thing I'm gonna grasp to, or put myself into, or what is that thing like I'm looking for? And I would say I was in a place of kind of trying to follow my instinct. I was trying to take different workshops and do some showcases and things like that. But I don't know. I wasn't really. I was feeling it, but I felt like there was another way, another path for me. So I was actually lucky. A buddy of mine, my boy Louis Santos, he's a dope director. You met him before, the one out in LA. Yeah, he's my homie. I've worked with him before, and he's like, "Yo, Jason, have you heard of this?" And
he introduced you to him again.
I had heard of it, but like, you know, I forgot about that. Like, I saw it last year, and I was like, okay, that's fire, but it was too late to apply, whatever. But he sent it to me. He said, "Yo, Jason, you should apply to this." And I was like, yeah, why not? Let's do this. This would be unreal. Let me just shoot my shot. Like, I feel like I got a good shot. Let me shoot it. And I kind of like, in a great way, like, it was the first time I was stepping in confidence. Like, I was like, okay, let me just shoot it out there. I think I might get it. If not, I'm gonna keep doing what I do. I'll figure it out. But I kind of sent it off and stopped thinking about it. And then when we got that email, once I got the email for the second round, I was like, okay, I got this.
It's so funny, Jason, because literally I was having an argument before I found out about the semifinalists like notification.
So you were in like
I was like, oh my God, like just so annoyed. And then I just sat down. I just like left that space where the argument was going on. I sat down in front of my computer and I went like, I said, yeah, I'm a finalist?
Yeah.
I said, you know, that right there is what was supposed to happen.
Yeah, that's God, the universe, you know, that's very, like when I got the email, I was super elated. I was very excited, but felt ready. Like I was ready to step into it. And like I feel like once it was official, I was all excited. I was ready. And then of course the fear comes and it's like, oh damn, like, who else is in it? Like, what are these people?
That was
like?
the big question,
right? These people are gonna be beasts. Like,
I was really trying to imagine y'all so hard. I was like, I wonder who these people are gonna be.
It was crazy. The anticipation was crazy. But I listen. I was a little fearful just because like stepping into something new, as you were. Like, we don't know what we were gonna experience or whatever, but it just felt right. So that it was one of the first times in my artistic experience that like I was stepping with confidence and feeling like, okay, I'm just gonna let it go where it goes, and I'm just gonna fully embrace where we're at and be immersed in the thing. And it's been like a blessing. Like you're saying, like it's a validation. I did feel that, and it felt good because like I'm sure you know you're similar to me. You know, you've been going at this for a while, so it's like you feel that internally, but you want to get it at some point from valid people that like, you know, that we want to work with. And getting that, like, it really did give me a boost of confidence to like make me feel like, okay, like there's no more when, there's no more if, we here. Like it's time to like, that's it. Like this is the level we're at. So it helped me a lot with my confidence.
Yeah, I love that. Sometimes you need that confidence boost. Like there are certain moments where it's just like, and it's cool and interesting to me actually that we had a similar experience of confidence going into it. Like I feel like I might get this, or I feel like I'm gonna get this, and that's just so. I love when that happens.
Yeah,
that's just so intuitive to me. Like you can kind of there's something about it where you can have the feeling that this is a space that's going to really change my life in a certain way that's really going to contribute to my growth. And just like the cohort,
the alignment, everybody, like you're saying, it was, I feel like everyone needed this at this point in time just as much as they needed us, because they reciprocated that energy. They're like, yo, you guys are great. This group is.
Oh, and that's what that put a shiver down my spine. I was like, you were thinking the same thing that we were thinking about this?
Yeah, it was. It feels special.
Yeah, they made us feel so special, and it wasn't on some type of like weird, ingenuine thing.
No.
And you can tell when people are just like, you guys are so special, and we are so excited about you in a way that feels like, yeah, whatever.
You just like they were saying it with passion,
and they were just so like forthcoming about the process, about how we were chosen,
which I love.
I loved that.
They were so open and really told us, like, went through it all, really, and like told us specifically why. It was
me finding out how I got into the program was shocking.
I know that,
I said that was shocking, and that made me like, I was just like, that just further confirms that I was meant to be here, because like I'm like, I was like, I know my spirit was really pushing for that, because the fact that I'm like, Bezal was just like, I was like, no. It was just like, I saw a different self-tape, and I was just about to like knock it, because I thought that was, the names and the audition materials got mixed up, basically. And so he thought somebody was me who wasn't me. And I almost didn't make it because
they saw you
and then they saw my actual tape, and he was like, oh yeah. I am. Okay, good. I love that. Thank you for agreeing to answer this little bonus question. But I just thought about it, and I've just been really excited to talk about that in relation to fear. So for my next question, I was wondering, so I like to, a lot of this is built around like poetry and my writing and kind of like the themes in my life that I'm experiencing and investigating right now. And one of the things is just my responsibility as an artist. And I was really influenced by Maya Angelou, who talked a lot about her responsibility as a writer. And I was wondering, what do you feel like your responsibility as an artist is, your personal responsibility as an artist, and has fear ever inhibited you from reaching that responsibility, from living up to that responsibility?
Damn, that's a good question right there. I would say my responsibility as an artist, or personally what I feel, is to show that you can come from non-traditional training backgrounds, you can come from the corporate world, or whatever the case is, from sports, from anything, and really, if you have a passion for something, and if you really have an intuitive feel for it, like, I want to show people that, like, that thing, like, 10 times out of 10, usually is right. So it's like, I always felt a certain type of way of pursuing the arts, and, like, had no connections at all, no knowledge to how to move forward in the industry at all. And, like, just want to show people that it's more accessible, it's more of like, like, if you dedicate yourself to the craft and you dedicate yourself to learn the industry, you can make anything happen, as long as you're willing to go through the time, and going through the times where you're not so great, and get over being embarrassed. I want to try and lead by example and show people that you can come from any type of background, any type of. I come from Massachusetts, small inner city. Like, now there's actually a couple people that are coming from my city that are doing great. But growing up, we didn't have a lot of examples, and not a lot of black Dominican actors at all growing up, or at least that I knew of. So I want to really show people, like, yo, you can believe in yourself, you can come from whatever background, and really, like, make your dreams come true. So I feel like my responsibility as an artist is to show people that if you aspire to be something, and if you're inspired, just go for it and you can make it happen.
Yeah.
I would say that, but also the craft as well. Like, I feel like the craft is so important, and I want to show people that aspect of it, because before I felt this way and really, like, got to a point where I felt comfortable as an artist and as an actor. When you're coming up and you don't really know, you just think like, oh, like, I have a natural charisma, I can learn the lines, I can say them well. Like, oh, you think that's acting, but as you get into it, that's not acting.
Yeah,
you know what
I had no idea that they were doing all of that. When I was just watching TV as a kid.
Like, genuinely, like, this is a craft. It's like you really gotta put in the hours in class and workshops. Doing theater, I recommend every actor to do theater if you haven't, or if you're looking to start that way, because you really get a whole sense of what we do, and really it's the perfect way to practice, because it's action and there's no cutting. It's going. You got to improv with some falls or whatever. You got to really be in it together. And just the craft, getting coached and being in class took me to another level, faster than I could think or expect. But that's all it takes, is putting in the hours and the hard work, you know?
Yeah. I really think that you were the perfect guest for me to talk about this specific subject for. And I was just thinking about...
and I have fear. I'm so sorry for interrupting you. The fear.
Okay, yeah, go. Tell us about the fear.
Fear.
No, go ahead. Tell us.
And I'm sorry. Please hold that thought.
No. Yeah, this is what it's about. It's like you interrupt. I interrupt. We interrupt.
I'm staying away from this fear. Fear, yes. There's been plenty of times where fear has interrupted me being an artist. Like, there's days where life's a little bit heavier. Whatever, you're just dealing with problems, you're tired, or whatever's going on. Or you're just intimidated by the situation, or you maybe have had a bad experience with someone. And so I would say fear has held me back in a lot of, I would say even from the jump getting into it, I would say that I really got into acting. I could have gotten into it earlier if I wasn't so scared, and I held off and waited and got my degree in something and worked in the corporate world, knowing that that was not what I wanted to do, and I was just scared to admit what I actually wanted to do and go for, because it's a scary thing. What we do is it's not guaranteed, but neither is success in the corporate world, and it's not a traditional route. But I would say a lot of years of my life I was holding myself back in many different ways just from fear. But like you gotta just move with fear and know that, like, on the other side of fear is usually like the thing that you're hoping for, that feeling that you want to feel, the wins, the fun, the connection. It's on the other side of fear. So like you gotta just live with it and go through, knowing that the fear is a good thing. You know, it's
right?
Sometimes an indicator.
I'm glad you said that, because basically that's kind of what I was about to get into about. I'm glad that that I chose you as the guest for this particular episode, because I feel like you're a great person to explain how fear is useful. Like, fear is useful for a lot of things, a lot of experiences we're going into, a lot of desires and hopes and dreams that we have, and on the way there, we're going to encounter fear. And it doesn't always have to be an obstacle. It can be something like you pick up along the way and you work through it, and then you still make it to where you want to be. Yeah. So I think that's pretty cool, and I was just like, this is going so well. I just love this.
You're crushing it.
You're crushing it. I mean, please.
Come on.
And so I can further stroke your ego. You have, like, you really are so inspiring as someone who has accomplished a lot as an actor with, like, an untraditional route. Even for actors, like, acting is untraditional in certain people's eyes, but it's risky, like you were just talking about. But the route, some people like see a route that they can take, like, oh, I'm going to go to drama school, I'm going to go to grad school, I'm going to get me an agent, a manager, and I'm going to do this. But that's not necessarily the path that you took, and you're appearing in an Oscar-worthy film that you can now say, because the strike is over. Like,
God willing, but
this is like really, really cool. And this is something, like, when I was working in casting, this is something that I was really stressing to actors who were coming in to be seen for roles. Yeah. I was just like, you don't have to have gone to Yale or Juilliard to be to get,
It helps. That helps.
Of course, because the technicality of it, and like what you can bring in the room, and the professionalism, of course it helps. It's just not mandatory. It's not. And I was just trying to, for people who were not able to have that experience, it was the kind of thing that was just really helpful to just like let them know, like, it's not the only way.
Yeah.
And it's literally not, it's not the thing that's going to like set your path. Even if you did go, it's not a guarantee, right? It's not a guarantee. It really, really helps, but it's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
So that's something that I would just like bring up to people a lot who were just like, felt like, because when you feel like you have a less chance of like getting a role, like you break down your confidence a little bit. And I was in the business of building people's confidence up so they can go in the room and just kill it and do the work that they came to do. And so this is leading into my next question, which is about your accomplishments as an actor so far that you've really managed to do without representation, right? Without, if I'm understanding that correctly, without an agent or a manager.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, like, what kind of fears or obstacles have you ran into, like navigating this industry and fighting for yourself so hard with not really having a team behind you, but also being able to experience the success that you have experienced so far?
Damn, yeah, thank you. Humbly, like, I don't even, thank you. God is good, or, everything is dope, but, like, even, like, saying that that's a success or whatever, like, that's all relative to what you find success. Like,
exactly,
it's dope, it's a dream come true, but, like, I'm still grinding, I still gotta, you know what I mean? Nothing's changed for me, but, yeah, like, I like you're saying, it's not easy. Not having a team and being in the position now where I'm at, I feel like I'm finally in a place now where I feel like, okay, I feel like it could be a good time to start getting these things. And like I'm now in communication with a couple folks, like some really good managers and some agents, and hopefully they may be a fruitful relationship, maybe not, but I'm making connections. But fears, I would say. I'll start off with the fear, and then I'll tell you what my thing is to help me keep going. But like, yeah, there's a lot of fears. There's fears that, like, how do we keep this momentum going? How do I get to the next thing? Because again, without management, I'm going off of relationships that I have with prior casting directors that I have worked with, and that's how I have gotten my auditions and my opportunities, because off of my first experience with a professional audition, I booked it. It was awesome. Had a great experience and really connected with the casting office, and in a real way, in like a human being way, where they really just have showed me love for years since that happened, and that is great. But I can reach out and all these things, but like I'm just waiting on ice or submitting on Actors Access and making relationships with directors directly and really showing up as who I am authentically and letting them know, because a lot of us, when it comes to a certain level, like being a professional actor, like everyone's talented, you know what I mean? But like, who are you as a human being?
Yes. Woo, you're getting to it. Yeah. You're getting to it, Jason. You're getting to it.
I really am who I am with y'all. Like, I'm the same way with y'all, as I am with my girl, with my mom, with my dad, with casting directors, with I don't, everybody's a human being, and a lot of people like mystify everything and like all these people, but like they want you to do good. They want you to show up and have fun and contribute to the thing. So like I really lean into that, and but yeah, there's just fears of uncertainty and just not knowing the next steps. That would be the biggest thing of like walking in faith right now. That's really what I'm doing, and walking on the work that I'm doing. And I would say I push myself with my artistic integrity. I really do. I don't audition for everything that I'm sent out for, like that they send me. Like I don't. I choose specific things that I'm like, okay, how is this gonna help me? This is the team working on this. I would love to work with these people. Let's go for it. Let's do that. So I'm kind of going off of my gut and my instinct, and like I do a ton of research. I'm always, I have a whole bunch of people I look up to that have that type of integrity. Mahershala Ali, Don Cheadle, Jeffrey Wright, Denzel. Like a lot of these people, it's like the roles that they do is for a reason, and it's a mosaic of the pictures that they're painting with the characters that they're playing, and I want to do that. And you know, every job, whether little, small, independent, big budget, whatever, it should feel like it's the most important thing to you. You should treat it like, yo, this is the Super Bowl, and I treat every audition, every opportunity that I have with my maximum effort. I make sure that I am overly prepared. I have I know every beat. I know exactly what my character is thinking. I know the dynamics between the relationships. I know everything. I know and I take everything as serious as I do, and it really just it's also like you gotta walk in faith. Like a lot of these things, like we're not in control of. I just control the most that I can in my little world of what I can control. That's really it. And I stay prayed up. I try and be the best human being I can be, and I try and show up fully as myself, and that has helped for real.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's so obvious that people can see you are who you say you are.
Thank you.
It's just written all over you. It's like, no, I'm like, I don't even know what else to say about that except for there's no way you could be fake. that would probably be your biggest acting challenge today.
At least I could do it, yo. If you want me to act fake, we could
if you want me to act fake.
Hire.
That's so funny. I was thinking about you talking about faith, just so they won't get confused.
Yeah.
I was thinking about you talking about faith, and to me it sounds like, and what inspires me so much, like how you inspire me so much, is that balance of that faith and your confidence. Because I think sometimes for me, I've been in situations where my anxiety kind of prevented me from doing certain things, and I just got so hard on myself when I let that fall to the wayside. And I think that there are still a lot of ways to be very just empowered in your confidence if you have anxiety. It's not like, oh, I have anxiety, it's never gonna work. It's like there are certain things that you can do to really, really uplift yourself.
I have anxiety.
Yeah.
I deal with it. I'm saying all these things, but I have those moments where I do a scene and I'm like, what was I just doing?
Yes.
That felt terrible. But a lot of these things, we don't know how it's gonna come out until we see it. You kind of just gotta be in the moment and let it go and forget, because it's gonna be what it's gonna be.
Right.
And at the end of the day, as long as you try, even if you don't feel good, even if you don't feel confident, just show up. That's half the battle.
Right.
Really.
Yes, that's half the battle. That's half the battle.
You feel a lot better after. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I like the fact that just showing up is a lot. Because to me, some people might be like, oh, that's the bare minimum. You're here. No, it's not.
It takes a lot.
It takes a lot. And it takes a lot to walk into the space with other people who might have been doing it longer than you, who might quote unquote know more about it than you, or have more experience with certain people that you don't have yet. And I'm just like, that's a lot to just immerse yourself in all of that, all these factors that are going on around you, and you're here and you showed up. And so I really like that. And I really like something that you said, not on this podcast, but you were talking to me and I guess some of the Human Grab peeps about your experience on the set of this movie that's coming out. And you were talking about, I don't know, can I talk about something that you... Okay.
Say whatever, yeah.
So you were kind of telling us a little bit about working with Jeffrey Wright. And kind of how you guys were rehearsing, and I just really loved how you you weren't talking about yourself in a certain way, but I just love how I could get a sense of the confidence that you had as an actor. Just when you just explain how you are just so prepared, you're over. I said, I can tell, because when you were telling us that story, it made me think of when you told us that story about rehearsing with him. When you're that prepared, you have, it's the confidence just come, there's no trying to put that on, it's just with you, because it's oh, I'm prepared and I can talk about this and I can discuss this and I can say this is what I'm getting from this, and like, can we take a look at this, or like examine something a certain way, and not be tempted to withhold any of that type of information, and I'm just like, yeah, it just reminded me of that, and I was just like, that has a lot to do with being ready and showing up.
Yeah, and to go into that a little bit, like that, talking about anxiety, that day that was probably the most anxious I've been being on a set. Like Sterling K. Brown, Jeffrey Wright, Erica Alexander,
Right? Oh,
legend, and
legend.
Cord Jefferson, him himself. Like I literally was a fan of him before I even like got the opportunity to audition. Like Emmy award-winning writer, he wrote The Watchmen. Like I was a huge fan of that show. He won an Emmy. Like Beast wrote for Master of None, like one of my favorite shows of all time.
Oh,
like so it was like, it was very intense. Like I showed up. It was towards the end of the day. They've been shooting for weeks now. I'm there for a couple scenes, so I'm working one day. I was like, after I got my makeup done and all that, I was waiting, just chilling, kind of like waiting while they were filming other scenes, knowing that mine was coming up. And I had a moment where like I was really like, wow, like what am I doing here? Like what is going on? Like, am I ready for this? Am I ready? Like knowing that I'm ready, but like I had to literally call my fiance and like talk to her. And she had to really bring me back down to earth and like Jason, you're there for a reason. They hired you. You're there. You don't got to worry about nothing. Go do what you do. And that really kind of like, okay, you got to remind yourself. Yeah, when you're on a set, it's not out of chance, out of luck. It's because they hired you to do what you do. That's what it is. And once I kind of clocked that in, we got onto set, and like our scene had like an interaction. Something goes down, and then I say a line, whatever, and we were rehearsing, and but also the set was welcoming enough that I felt that I could speak on something. Something felt like it could have been more organic, so I said it. And Jeffrey agreed, and Cord's like, all right, let's do it. And we did that, and it was beautiful, and it worked. They were happy, I'm happy. Now we're all closer. I feel like I'm contributing. Rest of the day is you feel a little bit lighter. You feel more, and those guys are legends. They're like the nicest, like grounded, down to earth people. Like literally, we're like, yo, like it was amazing. It was an amazing experience, and that's also like those are the type of people that you want to aspire to be like that when you're on a set, because it's all we're here to do the thing. We're here to have fun.
Right.
Like this is serious stuff, and there's a lot of money and time on the line, but we're here to make art. It's fun. This is all our passion. So
yeah, I like that. That is very much the truth. Like, and what you said about the environment being, you knew that you could be comfortable enough to do that. Just kind of reminds me of what we talked about in Hillman Grad a lot, of like knowing the politics of the set. It lends itself to being really prepared as well, and you can set yourself up for success in that aspect of just being able to like be in the space, because you know what the space is. I'm like, okay, this is how I can relax into it and relax into the space. So very cool, Jason. Very cool. Okay, now I want to shift the conversation a little bit for my last question. I want to shift the conversation a little bit to identity, which you mentioned a little bit earlier when you were talking about examples of Black Dominican actors on screen, or lack thereof, when you were growing up. And I just want to know, did the different perceptions and nuances of Dominican and Black culture in your community ever affect how you speak out as an artist representing multiple identities? And if there's a time from your upbringing that has stayed with you through the years where you had to confront identity in conjunction with your artistry, can you share that with us?
Yeah, damn, that's deep. That's a good one. I would say it's a heavy nuance packed in, like you're saying, and it affects everything, because it's my identity. I show up as a Black man. I show up as a Hispanic man. I'm both. I'm Latino. I'm Black, and not everybody looks, and not everybody is that, but within communities, we have different how do you say it, different shades, different hues. So people identify with what they want to identify, or what bucket is more convenient for them, or whatever. But yeah, no, I feel like growing up, I was very proud of being a black man. Like my dad, he always gave me that confidence as a young man. Like, yo, you are black. That's a beautiful thing, and you are Latino, and that's a beautiful thing. And things are hard, and you're for us in a lot of ways, and you're gonna go through some stuff, and be the bigger person. And my parents are very how do I say it, like traditional, like like don't say, just take the high road. So a lot of my life I have taken the high road. But as I've grown into my own, becoming a man of my own, a lot of times, like I don't play with that type of stuff, and I don't like condoning any type of, like, in Dominican culture is very, we got a lot of, in Hispanic culture in general, there's a lot of anti-blackness, and not a lot of people don't want to claim their roots and their African roots, and a lot of stuff like that, and it goes back. There's a big history.
Right, that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, a whole nother one. But I would say me directly, I have been affected in ways, like whether it was going through stuff in school growing up, like being profiled for stuff, like like actually getting in trouble for they tried making up that me and a couple of my buddies who are also black Dominicans, and some of my black buddies as well who are from Africa, like Kenyan and Nigerian. They said that they gathered us up, and it was in a predominantly white school at the time. And they said we were mugging people. We were.
Whoa.
Yeah, they said we were in a gang, and it was a lot. It was a big deal, and my parents got upset, but but they understood. Like, they're like, listen, we know you didn't do nothing. Don't worry about it. Let's keep this moment pushing. We're bigger than this, and that always stuck with me. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that feeling, and like it was a lot at that time when I was younger. But and as a grown man, we still would deal with these type of things, and especially in the Latin side of the industry, it's weird. Like, things are getting better. There's more Afro Latinos, and Gerald Jerome, a couple other actors that are doing their thing. But yeah, there was a Hispanic casting director that told me, you're not black enough to be black, and you're not Hispanic enough to be Hispanic. I don't know what you are. I don't know what we would do with you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was. I was like, oh.
She said what?
Yeah, it was wild. It was wild. But I kept it pushing. I kept it player, and we're doing what we're doing. And I don't stand for none of that stuff. But it has affected me in a lot of ways. But I want to move with grace and with love, and I'm trying to show people that, we gotta represent. We gotta represent for our people. You gotta embrace who you are. Don't be afraid of that just because someone trying to put you in a box or something. Like, no. You be who you are, and you embrace both of your identities. Because I know a couple people who have trouble with that, and like, it's not cool. It's not cool. You gotta know who you are, and yeah.
Ooh.
What do you mean you've been listening this whole time and you haven't subscribed yet? I don't see what the holdup is. The button is right there. And while you're at it, follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You obviously like the show.
Listen, I got a couple questions for you. Can I ask you a couple?
Oh, okay.
Cool.
I love it.
Came prepared. Let me pop them up.
With the way you said that really surprised me. I said, oh, yes.
Yeah, we're here.
Okay, we're here.
I got a couple. So, the first one I would like to ask you is, so growing up in Atlanta, like what types of fears or obstacles did you face in regards to your identity as an artist in comparison to your non-artistic peers? I want to kind of see that, and also if you did get any pushback on how you express yourself growing up, because I know you were in an artistic high school, so actually.
Yeah, I can answer. I still have an answer.
No.
You said, "Wait a second. Did you get any pushback?"
and
That's so funny.
I want to know how you overcame that, and when, at what age did you like muster up the courage to fully express that you really wanted to be? This is what you wanted to do with your life.
Yeah, that's so funny. You were just like, wait, you come from an artistic family. You went to an artistic school.
Wait.
Did anybody ever judge what you were doing? No, I was just kidding.
No, that's literally what I was thinking.
Right? Your face is what got me. Your face was just like, it came to you in that moment. You were just like, well, damn. It seemed like people must have been really supportive then. Right? That's so funny. But I think I do have an answer for that specifically because the state of Georgia, or at least like for the schools that were in my area that I was in, because Georgia's huge, but I was living near Atlanta and like in the suburbs around the suburbs of Atlanta, and that area has some really like high caliber academic schools. Like the county is like, oh, we have the number 3 school in the state, which is a huge state. So it's like being number 3 in like academics, I'm like, that is huge. And so I was around a lot of people who were even like in arts and like going to an arts high school. A lot of people were, you know, kind of like fostering the fact that they wanted to like have a release and like have something to just like some type of artistic expression. But we had a lot of people who were like really academic zoned, like tunnel vision,
like only on the books and
like really, really, really smart. But I was around people who were just like, they felt like they were eons ahead of me at the time, even though I came to realize, I'm like, oh, I'm pretty smart. Okay,
you're very intelligent. I was about to say that.
I had a little something going on.
Just cooking something.
Right. We someone cooked here. Like, but I would always know, like, the academics, especially before I moved to DC when I was in Georgia, the academics were the standards were high, and there were a lot of people like, all the SAT stuff and all this stuff was like really kind of intense, and also my oldest brother went into a more academic route, so I got to just like kind of witness his journey a little bit and how like what he valued from, you know, doing what he was interested in with education and all of that. And not to say that there was any undervalue of the arts coming from any of my family, but I did get to witness like what another side of it looked like, and I did feel like my own fear that I was kind of like creating in myself sometimes, where it was just like, I'm smart, I'm like really good at science, I'm really good at math, like shouldn't I just be doing this? And it kind of felt like a fear of like pushing that to the side, and sometimes it was like confusing. Like it was confusing. It's confusing to be good at something, but it not be your like passion. And I just thought I always thought problem solving was really satisfying. And when I found a way to translate that into storytelling, my whole world kind of like broke open. But
kind of combine both.
Right. I'm just like, you can like have a formula, you can have an equation and it not be like math. You can have some type of formula and like figure out, like maybe it's a question. Maybe it's just like a question that you're trying to answer and like express through. For me, it would probably be through writing, or sometimes I would like write things and then I would perform something of my own writing and it would be like that. And I'm like, you can have a question and like solve it through like artistic expression. So that's what I started to figure out. But yeah, there was a lot of people around me who were like getting the academic scholarships. And you know what else it was? because like I was smart on paper. I was smart, but because I was also like smart on paper,
Smart.
I am smart. Okay. I'm gonna talk about just like transitioning into DC because I graduated high school in DC. So DC,
I left out DC as well. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's no problem. I mostly grew up in Atlanta, so it's where I grew up. But for the couple of years that I was in DC before college, I was like on my scholarship grind, like just like really, really applying.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was like really like, if you went into my room, like my mom would come into my room and I would have like the printed out scholarship application forms like on my wall, like I was trying to solve a murder, like strings and no, but like.
What do I do?
I'm like, because I needed to see everything like out, because back then, like it was so long ago. It was like, what, 7 years ago?
Years ago.
It was 7 years ago. But I had to.
Actually,
almost a decade right now. But back then, I had to mail most of my scholarship applications off. And what I was.
Yeah, that's real.
Right.
Yeah.
What I was encountering in the scholarship.
In that process.
Where I had to like interview against other students and all of that stuff, that it was kind of, the fear was speaking to the people that were interviewing me about my love for the arts in whatever way. Like sometimes I didn't fully express all that I could have because I didn't immediately go to college for drama. So I I was a global liberal studies major.
Wow.
You didn't know that?
I know that.
Yes, I was a global liberal studies major at NYU, and then I transferred to Tisch Drama.
Which ain't easy.
Right, yeah. So I actually started in Tisch as a sophomore after I like switched majors, but
and that's perfect. Actually, let me stop you right there.
Yeah, go ahead.
My second question was coming from Atlanta / DC. What was that like going to New York? Because New York is similar to DC, but it's its own thing, and especially Tisch it's an elite program. It really is. It's prestigious. So, what was that energy like for you going over there? Like, what were you thinking? What were you like? Like, what was that like? That whole experience. Like, did you have to overcome anything? What were the fears? And what did you learn through all of that? Like, looking back now, like at years after that, once you settled into New York, already had experienced that. Like, what do you take from that experience?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I think it's really cool to be able to look back on it now with such a different perspective. Because back then, I think fear really ruled for a while. I had no concept of what a real acting class was going to be. I was inspired to, I took an acting class in high school, but my thing was dance. Like, I was like a dance major in high school.
You weren't an acting major? You were not?
Oh, you didn't know that?
No,
I was dance. I was ballet. I was modern. I was in there doing the hip hop thing.
Okay.
I danced almost 5 hours a day for 3 years straight.
What the hell?
Yes. Sometimes it was dangerous because, okay, so really quickly before I get a little bit deeper into your question, my high school in DC, the school hours were from 8 to 5. And so, like, we had the academic.
5?
Yes, 8 to 5. The regular school hours. Right? Literally working a full shift. I used to come in. I remember when I was a junior, I had AP chemistry first, like 8 a.m.
They're smart with the AP. That's smart.
Yes, I had AP chemistry at 8 a.m. Yeah, I know APs. I threw a few in there. Didn't even I'm just like, just so, but I really wanted to, should I say this? No, okay.
Say it.
I had a crush on my chemistry teacher. And also, she really encouraged me to go to a higher level with it, because when I was in her regular class, she was like, you should have been in my honors class, because we would get these tests where we had a bonus question on all of our tests, and the bonus question would be like a regular question that honor students do in honors class, and I would breeze through the bonus question every time. And she called me up to her after class one day, and she was just like, you you are like smoking these like hundreds across the board every test, and you get the bonus question right every time. I was just like, I kind of like this. I was like, I like chemistry. And she was just like, why aren't you in my honors class? And I was like, you could only take 2 honors classes at the time. And I was already taking.
You already had to?
Yeah, I was already taking honors English and like honors math or something like that. And so she was just like, can I give you extra work? I mean, I don't want to sound like, but I was just like, yeah, lean on me. No, like, but yeah, I was pretty. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty good at school. I was the person that, you know, the teacher would kind of like hand back the grades, and people would kind of look like turn back to see what I got. Or my teacher would like announce kind of what I got on the low, be like, another 100. Or you know how they be trying to say it under their breath. And then you hear somebody in the back be like, damn, for real?
Damn, I got a 75.
It's like, or like those times where a lot of people in the class kind of got around the same grade, and everybody like, okay, Josca, what did you get? Because this is the real test. Like, this is a real test. Maybe the teacher didn't do her job this time. Like, if Josca didn't if we all are getting around a 72 average, and maybe Josca got around that, maybe we can blame the teacher this time.
We can take it.
That's kind of the vibe. That's kind of the vibe.
Example.
Right. I was giving an example. I was giving.
Hey.
And then of course I ended up going to Harvard summer program the summer before my senior year of high school.
Rewind that. Harvard program?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Explain.
Yes, I went to Harvard.
Shout out to New England. Shout out Boston.
Yeah, shout out. And my oldest brother went to Harvard for undergrad. So he was actually working there that summer I went to, right. Shout out. Harvard family.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so he was
crazy.
Working there when I was taking classes there that summer. And it was just like, it was cool to, you know, have that experience. And I took a psychology and law class. And I actually took an acting class while I was there.
Damn.
But just because I didn't want my second class to be too, like, overbearing. I wanted to have a fun summer. It was, like, going there was the first time I had ever ridden a plane. Wow. And I wanted to, like, just also enjoy my summer. So I was in an international relations class at first. And I said, no. After that shop period week when we can, like, try different classes, I was just like, yeah, no, it's going to be too overwhelming. Yeah, so I ended up taking a little acting class, but nothing was as real as like when I went to NYU in terms of like me feeling like structured and me feeling like I was actually learning a technique and something to stand on. Yeah, so like honestly going back to your question that you originally asked, like I went all the way over the place. But going back to your question, like, I had no idea what to expect when I went into NYU. So I was a global liberal studies major at first, of course, and I was studying abroad in London as a freshman, and I had to audition for Tisch virtually, like completely virtually. What? And like I had to submit a portfolio and like film self-tapes, and that was actually my first time filming self-tapes. Like I was like in the corner, and I had just seen Father Comes Home from the Wars by Susan Laurie Parks, and I was just like, there was a monologue in that. I'm gonna do that one. I found another one off the internet, and I kind of killed that one. I was just like, I haven't had any formal training, but I was like, the second monologue I did, I was really confident in, so that kind of helped me. Like, but
damn,
it was scary. It was scary. Also, bringing it back to fear, what was scary was the interview part. Because when we got to the interview, they were asking me questions, and they were speaking in the language of acting and in the language of the entertainment industry, and I was just so unfamiliar. I was just sitting there like, ooh, in my head I was just like, ooh, I blew it.
This is it right here.
I said, da, like, that was, I was just sitting over there like, I remember she had asked me a question, and I literally said, I'm so sorry, I don't know what that means. Like, I was honest.
You gotta be honest.
Yeah, I had to be honest because, like, how was I going to answer the question? Like,
you look stupid saying something.
Right. I said, I'm going to be honest, I'm very new to, like, a structure. Like, I was in an acting class in high school or an acting class here where we did a lot of exercises, or we took the text and we just like, it was more like the teacher was a director and not like teaching us any sort of like technique. And that's what I was like remembering. Like we would warm up, we would do exercises, we would do a lot of like games and stuff and activities that would really help us like get into a character, but you know, they would mention Meisner this or something like that, but it wasn't like, we weren't specifically focused on the structure. But when I got to Tisch Drama, I was just like, okay, like this is, first of all, I was a bit intimidated because I didn't know where anybody was coming from. I was like, I don't know where anybody's coming from with this. And it's just scary. It's scary to get up in front of people and be vulnerable. And I also remember like one day, my first semester in school, when I had just been broken up with, and I came to class the next day. Like I had just been broken up with.
Some time.
Right. I was like walking around class like this and falling out on the floor, which felt really good. Yeah, it felt really good though because like movement class was just everything was just so freeing. Like I just felt like I wouldn't be. That's actually a pivotal moment. Like I felt like I wouldn't be judged for just expressing, and like I ended up breaking down crying near the end of class. Like we did this exercise in movement class, which at the time that was my first class of the day. We stood in a circle and I'm trying to remember what we said to each other, but we would have someone walk up to another person and like say something, and then they would repeat it like, and like, will you take my place type of thing. Like this is like what I'm feeling, will you take my place today? And they like kind of repeated it and said, yes, I'll take your place. And we would switch places. They would kind of like take on like
whatever energy.
Yeah. And I did that and started like really crying and started like letting it loose. And I don't know, you just like grow so close with the people in the room, and like you really get to work on something that had like a serious like, okay, so I was at Atlantic School. I started at Atlantic, which is the practical aesthetics technique. And a lot of that is think before you act, so you can act before you think. And so we did a lot of written work first. We did a lot of analysis. We did like, what is this scene? What's the literal of this scene? What's the action? What's the want? You know, or what's the want? What's the action? What's the as if? And so, yeah, I just like fell in love with the balance, I guess, between like the written work and just feeling like I was exercising my intelligence too in that way, and then getting out there and putting it through my body.
Through practice, yeah.
So
the instrument.
Right. There was a lot to overcome. Especially in my primary training, because I was trying to find that confidence in myself. Yeah. I had to get over the fact that I didn't have the same background as other people might have had. Like, I really had to like snap out of that. I was falling into that admittedly a lot at first. Like, then I was just realizing that they told me that I could be here. Like, I need to be here and do it and just like be in the moment with everybody. And oh my goodness, I'm like, I could talk about acting school all day, but one more quick thing that I'll mention is we have a final project that we do in our primary training called Throughline, where we kind of have to direct like 20 minutes of a play, and you'll be in somebody else's play. You'll direct yours, and you'll be acting in yours, and you'll have a partner. You can also cast other people in the little parts. But for the one that I did, that I was not, it wasn't mine, but I was the partner for that one.
You were performing it.
Yeah, I was performing as that person's partner.
Yeah.
It was fences, so I had to be Rose. And for that experience, like, I wanted to mention this one because of the fear. I was like afraid of being like all the comparisons that were going to be inevitably made. I was like afraid of like just like expectations of like having to like reach a certain emotional depth that, yeah, I'm like, that's a lot. And like also like having just that 20-minute allotment to really like dive into a piece like that. I'm like, ooh, I felt like that was the biggest challenge of my life up to that point when I was experiencing that and rehearsing for that. I was just like wow. Like How
long was that process of rehearsing for it? for that?
It was a few months. We did a few different rounds. Like the structure was we did like a scene, just like one of the scenes, and presented it. Yeah, we presented one of the scenes to the class.
Flavor.
Yeah, and then the next presentation we did was like, kind of like a rough draft of the whole 20 minutes to see what you have so far. And you get to kind of like get really good notes from the teacher from a director's point of view. And then we would come back and they would see in the final Throughline Festival what we kind of came up with after that. I changed my whole thing around so much so they liked it so much they had me open up the festival. Okay, period. You already know I opened up the festival with Hooded or Being Black for Dummies, which was such a fun thing to do.
Right there, listen, that is incredible.
Yeah, Fences was.
I didn't know your story was like. I did not know that you were a dancer. I thought you were an actor like through and through, like from the beginning. So, like, the fact that you jumped in to NY, like, all that stuff that you...
I think you weren't there at that time at Hillman or that little meeting we had when I was talking about this.
I wasn't there because that's an impressive, like, feat to get into NYU's undergrad. Tish is creme de la creme, and you showed out, you know what I mean? Like, you made a stamp, so salute to you, yo.
Thank you. But yeah, it was a lot of like overcoming fear and just saying that I have to do it. Fences was like that. Like I was just like, I have to get through this and I have to like really curate my preparation in a way that is going to work for me where I can get to the place that I need to be. And it ended up being so connected that just like feeling of in the zone where like everybody else in the room disappears. That's what it felt like performing it like.
Wow.
And I got to perform it with a really good friend of mine. So it was just like, and also Dante was one of the people in the cast. Dante actually played my son. Right, and in Hooded, yes, I casted Dante in Hooded, and the whole experience was just great. But yeah, a lot of fear to overcome, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. Of course, NYU has some pitfalls here and there, and honestly we can talk more about that outside of the podcast. But yeah, like that pushing yourself is just so worth the effort.
It is, because look at how you felt after. It's like you win the championship after that. You feel like, okay, now this is the new normal. It's not a peak. This is now my mid-level. Like, this is where we at, and like that's sick.
Right,
sick.
Leveling up.
Leveling up.
Was that the third question or the second question?
The third.
Oh, okay. I said I'm trying to.
Third right here. Being such a talented multi-hyphenate artist, do you have any fears that ever hold you back from doing the thing that you feel that you should be doing? And as an artist with so many avenues of expression, is there one practice specifically out of the many that you do that you have more fear in for some reason? And why that one? And like, what do you do proactively to try and overcome that fear? And yeah, just speak on that if you can.
I love this question. So this is the primary reason why I started to push myself to change my perspective about just like taking what people say, like taking people who you admire, take what they say with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Just because you admire them doesn't mean you're gonna agree with every single thing that they say. And somebody recently said something, somebody that I really admire, like recently said something that I was just like, oh, I don't know. Like, I was just like,
I don't know about that.
I don't like the advice. Like, I was just like, I don't know if I would say that, just because it was related to being a multi-hyphenate, and it was kind of just like that talk of, a jack of all trades is a master of none type of talk, but just like, or that talk that's like, usually people who say that they're this and then they're that, they're usually actually really just this, and they kind of do that. And I don't agree with that. I just had to like come to terms with the fact that I don't agree with that. Yeah. I don't agree that that's even usually the case, Of course it's the case sometimes, but I don't even agree that
So it's case by case basis.
Right. I feel like it's really a case by case basis because I'm like, a lot of people are brilliant here and brilliant here, and honestly, I'm not even going to hold you. That's what I was starting to feel about myself. I was like, that's what I was starting to feel about myself. When I'm writing, like literally, I was like taking a walk last night. I went to my friend's birthday party last night, and on the way home, I was like speaking and talking and like kind of like talking about my writing to myself and like talking about my poetry to myself. And I felt that side of me that is just like really, really in tune with the artistry of like writing and like creating and just words, like expression through words. And I felt that feeling that you get when you know you have it, like when you know you have something really special about what you can do.
Yeah.
And the same exact feeling.
With Hillman.
Right. I was just about to say the same exact feeling that I've had about my acting, like in the past couple of years. Like I don't know. It's so interesting being a multi-hyphenate, and it's really about filling out where my priority is at whatever time, because you can't do everything at once. That doesn't mean that you're better at one thing and another thing you're just kind of mid-level mediocre at or chaotic neutral at.
Chaotic neutral.
Right. Yeah, somebody said that to me the other day, and I was like, I forgot about that term. I like that. But yeah, I'm just like, so.
Which one brings more fear or trepidation? I would say not.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
You're at a moment, obviously, where you're living in what you do, but would you say it's more of a struggle for you to tap into the writing side of things or the acting? Like, and you know, like how is it that you do constantly overcome it? Because you're really good at both and you do both. So
I think sometimes that it might be the acting that feels a little bit more like, which is surprising for me to say out loud. It's like surprising for me to say out loud because I feel like with writing, it's just something I've always done.
Yeah.
It feels like it comes so natural to me, and with acting, I have to be so intentional about it, especially in the beginning. And whenever you have to be like really intentional about something and a process of something, it's just like, okay, I've got to make sure I did this right. Like, did I do this right? Like, how do I play with this? And all of that sort of stuff before you can drop everything and just be. And I think sometimes I just have a little nervousness and a little bit of fear about, did I do this right? Did I prepare this right? Even though you can prepare things and present a character in so many different ways, and it still really works.
Choices, it can be many iterations.
Right. So I'm just like, does this feel good to me? Does this feel good enough to me? And am I confident in how I put this together? So that's kind of a thing for me.
Wow,
but that's why, like what you said earlier, I really appreciated that you said your experience about being really like over prepared, because I think over prepared is just being the right type of prepared based off of like how we describe it. And of course you have to go in with writing, you have to go in and you have to be intentional about it too. I'm not saying that you just writing it, it's good to go. Yeah, that's not what I mean. But I've gotten the chance to go back and take a look over it. And it feels different. Like with acting, there's so many other like factors around you that you're thinking about more readily too. When you're writing, it's really about you. Like it's really about you for a while there, and you just get to like put whatever you want, create your own world. And acting, like especially when you're stepping into somebody else's world, you know that other people are going to be doing it too, probably for the same role. It's just like a lot of things in my head that can cause a little bit of that fear to come out.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that I don't show up and show out like I should and like I am proud of. But it's just like it's different than writing. And it's like, yeah, it's something that that's why, honestly, when I was in high school, I was just like, I need to train. Like I need to be, I know how to dance now. I know how, and then when I was at NYU too, at a certain point, I started taking the private voice lessons because I was like, now I think I need to learn how to use my voice. Like, I'm like, I need to do that. But yeah, it's just like something about like nurturing that craft I'm just like, that's just what you got to do to kind of dispel the fear a little bit. And like you said, and like Bezod, our teacher, says sometimes, like, acting class is like going to the gym. Like, you're in there and you're working those muscles, and that also helps a lot. As much as you're improving, you're also like putting it into practice. Like, my mom used to always say, practice makes permanent. You're always like going in there, and it's a part of you. Like, you can't erase it if you're always exercising those muscles. And I think that helps with the fear. But yeah, I think acting is just like very intimidating a lot of the times, and it's nothing to shy away from, and it's nothing to be like, oh, I can't do it. But it's just the fact of the matter for me, and I get through it. But yeah, I think it would be acting.
Wow, that's like actually like pretty revealing, because like as one of your peers, like, when it comes to your, like, obviously we all have our own processes, all that, but you're like really sharp when you show up, and you show out. So and
Thank you.
I don't know, it's just interesting. Like, I'm learning a lot about you.
I'm glad. I've been learning a lot too.
Yeah. Like, it's because I don't know. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's just cool to hear where you approach acting from, or like where you came from, and like it was something that you identified early on. Like, the writing came more natural to you. The acting was something that was there, but you wanted to further the craftsmanship. And you're right. Overcoming the fear is just working on it. So yeah, that's cool, yo.
It's so true. And with writing too, I had that thing with writing. I decided to take a playwriting class in college. I was just like, this is anything that I feel intuitively, and I'm just like, okay, now I have to see how other people got to where they went,
Other
or like
people's process?
other people's process, because you get influenced, and like I mentioned earlier, you get to curate your own thing, and you get to like pick and choose something that inspired you from different places, and it all comes together. And I really loved taking that playwriting class, even though I don't really consider myself as like a playwright. I've taken a shot at writing plays and directed my own one-act play before, but I really was attracted to episodics and writing scripts for television and doing that world and getting into that. So, but just being in that class and learning about the process of how to get inspired to write something, that's a really big step. Like, that's a really big step. Like, we had an assignment that I thought was like, wow, I never even... Yeah, like, that's something that we actually like worked on. Like, how do you, like, what are all these different things that can really like break your brain open to, I feel like I've been using different variations of that metaphor this whole time, but yeah, just like something that can just really like guide you down. And like, for me, and I told my friend this last night, actually, for me, like, it's journaling and free writing. But something we did specifically in that playwriting class was we were instructed to like bring physical things into class, like 5 physical things into class that just, you know, like the first thing you saw when you walked into your dorm, or like, you know, something that you happen to be staring at, or something like really mundane, like could be like a toothbrush and I don't know, like a pixie stick you found in the back of your desk or whatever, just like something really random. Yeah. And then we had to just like write something that included all 5 of these things, and just like, you know, just like go down the rabbit hole. And we had like, you know, 10-minute timer, and just started writing. And I just love fun, cute little exercises like that, and like just getting inspired to write more, or getting inspired to like tell a story, even if it's just something that makes no sense and something that just came up. Like, it's not based off of anything in my personal life necessarily, but yeah, it's fun, and I was inspired to do it.
It's a creative at bat. It's putting the hours in. But yeah, you're exploring the craft of that lane. It's a different thing, but wow. Yeah. Wow.
You're like, this is something else right now.
This is cool to hear.
Yeah, I love this. I'm like, we're gonna keep talking. We're gonna keep talking about this, because now I just feel so like, I love getting to talk about my journey a little bit, and I love hearing about where you came from with yours. Sadly, we're coming to an end. I know. We're going to do our final activity, which is our old TV Big Three. And did you know anything about astrology? Do you dabble in it?
I had to look up.
You had to look It's just like, Jason probably had to look
What's
this up.
rising sign? What? Like, I didn't know.
I would have explained it for you a little bit too, but I'm glad you looked at it. Yeah, I'm like, prepared. Overly prepared. Overly prepared inspiration, Jason. So you were asked to pick a TV show that you loved. It could be growing up. It could be something that you just really connect to. And just take the characters and tell us which character would represent your sun, moon, and rising sign. So tell us about what you picked.
So, I mentioned this pre-shoot. Listen, my family, we used to, every night, we'd go to my parents' room and like, we all get into bed and at 9 p.m. every night on school nights and watch the Cosby Show. Listen, screw that man. But I grew up on that show. That was like really for me the first black family that I see like thriving, doing really dope stuff and like just being normal, living lives that we also live. That's like you just feel seen, and so that's my show. I grew up on it. It's a staple in my family, and I love the characters. So I picked a couple characters from there.
Yeah,
I would say.
Go ahead. Yeah.
My son, I would say, is Vanessa Huxtable.
Okay.
Yeah, that's she's artsy. She's more of the rebel of the family. I would say that's my lane.
I love Vanessa. That's good. I like that one.
Vanessa's lit. And then my moon is Elvin. He dated deep down. I'm a romantic. I'm a teddy bear. I'm really like I got a soft heart. We
can tell.
Yeah. That's me. And then I would say my rising is Theo. I would say like, I'm just like I try and do good, but like I'm also goofy. I'm not perfect, but I try my hardest and I try and lead by example and do good with my family. Like that's what I relate to, and that's what I feel like. That's me right there.
Yeah. Oh, I feel the Theo one so highly for you. I was just like, that's true. I can see it. Oh, I remember that little episode where Theo comes in decked out in that NYU gear.
Oh, I love that he went to NYU. That's so fresh. He was a big inspiration on like me wanting to go to college. So,
oh wow.
Salute to Theo's character for real. Like a lot of the stuff that he was going through, like I was like, that's what I'm gonna do when I'm that age, and when I'm older, that's gonna be the vibe. That's gonna be like it was dope. It was dope to see. So yeah,
the Cosby Show was a big one.
Yeah,
we all know what the thing what the deal is now. No confusion around that.
None.
But we're not just gonna erase the past because of something that we found out later.
It was something that a lot of us grew up on.
Right, exactly. It is what it is.
Culturally, it was huge for people,
It did have such a big impact.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think about, I don't know, have you watched A Different World?
I have, but I haven't seen every episode. I've seen most of the first season, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay,
but
you gotta watch.
Came from
the first, it's the spin-off show.
Yeah.
But the first season is compared to the rest of the show.
Wow.
I even told somebody who was thinking about watching it, I said, honestly, you can skip the first season if you want to. Because they, like, the dynamics behind the scenes changed going into the second season. And then when Lisa Bonet left the show after the first season.
Oh, so she's not in the second season? Oh, she's not in the rest of the show?
She comes back for, like, cameos. But, that's when she got pregnant.
Oh, word. Yeah.
And also, there was just some, things going
behind
on
the scenes
that, kind of.
And she was the lead, right?
Yeah, she was the lead. But originally, and I think, honestly, I don't know all the details, but I think this was so that they could really get this show to be able to air. It was going to be framed as a white student's experience at an HBCU, which is why Marisa Tomei was kind of in it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But then,
that's a dub.
Yeah, so that's kind of a little bit of what was hinted at in the first season. And then, the character dynamics changed. Lisa left, Marissa left, and and the show revolved around other characters, and season 2 onward was
I know it's iconic. It's legendary.
And it's Hillman Grad.
It's a Hillman.
Just a beautiful show. And the reason I thought of it also too is because of like Theo was like made a couple appearances in the show.
Okay, let's go.
Especially his appearance in the last episode of season 1. Like when you know like the show's dynamic is gonna change. I don't know. When you said Theo Rising, it reminded me of that. It reminded me of that part of him being there for Denise in a way, as like I'm like, oh, he's a little brother, but he's really like he has it together in a way where it's just like I'm there for you to support you, and you don't have to feel a certain type of way because of what you think our dynamic should be. Like I'm just there for you, like no questions asked. Like whatever you're going through or whatever you want to do, like I'm gonna be your support system, you know. So I was just like, that's giving Jason.
Thank you. Nah, for real. Like he was a role model, genuinely, like growing up. So for sure.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. That was such a good episode. Yeah. I know y'all agree. They're gonna be like, ooh, we want more. We're craving more.
Do a part 2 another time.
Right, yeah, definitely. Honestly, this is making me want to do a season 2. Yeah, this is giving. This has been a very fun conversation.
This has been amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for bringing me to your space and your energy, your creative world. Thank you for everything, yo. Thank you for the time, for the chat. It was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. It was very beautiful. I'm about to like hop, skip out of here and be like, so fun. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. And tune in next week as we talk all about love. Ooh, another angle to all of this life stuff. Love. It's going to be a beautiful conversation. You won't want to miss it. Yeah, I'll see y'all there. Bye.
232425 is a podcast produced and hosted by Joska. Graphic design by Joska. Executive producer, director of photography, and editor, Dante Charles Critchlow. Music by Fadal Moore. A special thanks to Anthony and Celintia Moore, Constance Moore, and Harold Hickson for their contributions to production. And a special thanks to viewers like you who create the community of my wildest dreams. Thank you.
232425 TV.